Hey guys, DesolatorMagic here, and a bit of a fun/funny video if you think math and statistics are funny. I know I do. You may have heard that in Amonkhet there is a Force of Will as a masterpiece, and it's worth about 300 retail. So I thought, wow, that is a lot of money. That is like foil Tarmogoyf money. Like, you don't usually see this in Standard, although, you know, masterpieces are kind of a new thing to Standard, so you also kind of do see it in Standard now. But still, even the BFZ block expedition fetches didn't really get that high. So it's a bit of an anomaly, so I decided to do some math, and it's going to be kind of surprising and kind of funny. So your probability of pulling any masterpiece at all is right around 0.6944%, so 1 in 144. Now, it's a tiny bit different than that per set, but the numbers that they gave were really close, like in set variety and number of masterpieces, etc. So I think all these stats are off by no more than 25% at the end of everything. So with 27 unique invocations in Amonkhet, that means that your chance of pulling just a Force of Will specifically are 0.0257%. Or as I like to call it, a 1 in 3,888 shot. So now we're into like certain types of lottery pulls, like a really good big like drawing at a fundraiser or something, or a 50-50 raffle at a demolition derby if you're from Wisconsin. Actually, we have cheese raffles. That's like a thing. So to get a Force of Will masterpiece, you would have to open an average of 3,888 boosters. No problem, right? Well, that's 108 boxes, which is kind of a lot. And if you were to go on eBay right now for the lowest price I could find, $89.50 free shipping, to get the boxes, to get your $300 Force of Will, you'd have to spend $9,660, give or take. That means that you would lose about $9,300 on your $300 pull. Now, that's if you quite literally took every other card and just burned it, because you're like, this isn't a Force of Will, chuck it in the campfire. I wouldn't recommend that particular method of opening cards because it loses you $9,300. Now, if you were to buy the boxes at $3.99 a pack, straight up MSRP, like $141 a box or whatever, $15,513.12 you'd have to spend on average to get one Force of Will. So pulling it the hard way, not really a good idea. I think that's why they call it the hard way. But you clever folks, although not after you hear the result, might be thinking, well, instead of opening one pack and having a 0.025% chance or whatever of pulling it, what if I were to spend $300 on packs, which would be about 75 packs? That's at MSRP. You might be able to get them cheaper, but we'll just say, you know, $3.99 a piece MSRP. What if you open $300 worth? What would be your chance of pulling the $300 Force of Will? Well, it's actually a 1.92% chance, a 1.93 rounded. Oh boy. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's about a 1 in 52 chance rounded. So I wouldn't exactly recommend that either. Now, as far as invocations in general, a lot of them are worth like 40, 50, and 60 bucks. I didn't see that coming. That is their current pre-order full-blown retail at a vendor price, not TCG, not eBay. So obviously those are going to go down, but the average invocation, if you take all 27 and average them, is worth $55.37, and it's mostly the $300 and $100 ones that are throwing that off. So now this is where it gets interesting. When you take that into consideration, and the fact that, you know, you have a 1 in 144 chance in any given booster of pulling one, the per booster value that just invocations existing add to the booster is 38 cents. I mean, 38 cents. People think, oh, with these astronomical odds, it maybe adds a nickel to every given booster. But no, it's 38 cents. And all throughout the history of masterpieces, they tended to add about 15%, or not add, I should say take up 15% of a box's EV or a booster's EV. So that means that Standard got 15% cheaper. I mean, it really does realistically directly work that way in actual reality. Now, it looks like right now, as we sit, if you were to pay $3.99 for a booster, which is not how I normally measure this, it's still 9.63% of the value in any given booster is contributed from the fact that you could pull in Masterpiece. So in other words, if you opened 100,000 of them, 9.63%. My pasta's done. Here's another fun stat. If I'm recording a YouTube video, there's a 41% chance that I'm also cooking pasta. Anyway, if you opened 100 grand worth of cards and then sold all the masterpieces, about 9.63% would be from the masterpieces, which is pretty good. Now, if you buy the packs at distributor price, I think we're already exceeding the 15% mark. I think it's flirting with like 16 or 17% at this point, which is pretty impressive. So if you hate masterpiece cards and you don't want anything to do with them, just let everybody else open them. Don't touch them. If you pull one, just like sell it and then enjoy your 15% cheaper standard, because that's what happens. So that's some pretty good news overall, and here's some even better news. In your pre-release pack, there are 6 boosters, and of course this is super relevant right now, so I had to throw this in. You have a 4.16 repeating chance of pulling any masterpiece at all, just pulling one at all. And, that's, it's not astronomical. I mean, it's I think the best way to illustrate it is for every 24 people that attend your pre-release, they should pull exactly one masterpiece between them. So one of them will pull one. It's not a sure thing. These are not exactly evenly distributed. We got 3 expeditions in one box in BFZ. I also went 13 boxes without one, so it's very random. On a large scale, it's not. I think we were supposed to pull 41 and I pulled 42 or something when we opened BFZ. But the variance is high and there's no pattern, so yeah. Now, if you just wanted to pull a Force of Will masterpiece and that's it, it would take 648 people. I doubt you have that many at your pre-release, so don't hold your breath. Now, here is the best stats. I kept these for last because these are downright astonishing. Now, these are kind of ballparkish, but these are the ones that I would say are still probably within 25, at worst 50% accuracy. That's the margin of error. So how many total Force of Will masterpieces exist in the world? How many were created in the printing process? My best estimation, based on very good numbers that I won't go into the history of, indicates that there are approximately 6,440 of them. So that's it's kind of a lot, but it's kind of not, because that's worldwide, the entire print run, 6,440 exist. Now that's ballpark. I would put the range between 4,000 and 7,000. It's more likely to be lower than higher. So that makes sense. I mean, yeah, they're $300. I can see why. That is totally not enough to go around. Oh, especially when people need 4 each. I mean, then you're looking at, 1,500 people could get one or something, or a full set? Well, compared to a rare, like one individual rare or mythic, which is printed on the 100,000 scale, yeah, that's not very many to go around. And you still got mythics that are, $70, like Jace. Okay, at the time, I should say. So at $300 a piece, the total value of all of the Force of Wills in the world are approximately $1.93 million. So Wizards just printed off, the 6,000 whatever copies of the card and generated just short of $2 million. I mean, they are just about printing $300 bills every time they print one off. I mean, that's just how it works. So now here's the mind-blowing one that I kept for last. This is crazy. If every single booster of Amonkhet that was ever printed sold for $3.99, that's what we're using as the value, they would cumulatively be worth right around $100 million. It's almost exactly $100 million on the dot. I think I got $99,973,440. That's a little higher than most people would estimate because the first set always sells heavier than the second set in the block, and I just arbitrarily chose, 20% or something to boost it. So, we know the total value of all the Force of Wills, and we know the total value of Amonkhet, full-blown retail. What percentage is it? Well, Force of Will is 1.9338% of the total value of the set, full-blown retail MSRP. Not even distributor price. So, it's just short of 2% of the whole value of the whole set by itself, and your odds of pulling one are 1 in 3,888, and it's still just about 2% of the total value. How utterly crazy is that? That's nuts. Want to know something even crazier? Okay, that's $3.99, so MSRP, $141 whatever a box. If you were to scale it down to the average cost of the actual singles cumulatively, it goes up even higher. It's flirting with like 3%. So 3% of all the singles ever printed, value-wise, in Amonkhet are Force of Will masterpieces. Like, how crazy is that? I mean, it's still blowing my mind. So this was kind of a fun video. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you want me to do more like statistical analyses of different things and fun breakdowns and comparisons and all that stuff, I seriously doubt most of you are as into it as I am. But I thought I'd just soften the blow with this video first with some kind of, you know, mind-blowing neat stats. Because the next video isn't so polite. Let me just warn you. It's not good news. You're not going to like it. It's about math and statistics, and it's about Amonkhet, and it's not good news. You could probably put 2 and 2 together. So at least you watch this one. You might want to skip the next one if you don't want to be depressed all day. I'll see you guys next video. Maybe.